recording has started. All right, welcome to the Red Rowdy Podcast. This is episode 1. We are going to be talking about free agency, the head coaching search, possible trades, basically just the offseason for the Rockets, what we should expect, what we're looking forward to, where the team's at now. Should be fun. So I'm your host, Dave Schultz. We have our co-hosts here, Elmer Villa, Devin Santos, and Spencer Wells. We're going to start out talking about the head coach search with Devin's opinion on Stephen Silas, and then we're going to go into everyone else's opinions. Start with Stephen Silas.
Yeah, so I feel like we got the perfect coach in Stephen Silas. Not only is he a young coach, he was also the runner-up to Mike D'Antoni, which means we already wanted him in the front office before. So, I mean, like I said, he's still young. Coaching runs in the family. His dad was a coach, I think, for, I want to say 30 years, but he played in the league. He was a fiery coach. Unlike Stephen Silas is a more down-to-earth coach. Like, he'll talk to the players. They compared him kind of to Brad Stevens over there at the Celtics, and we know how great of a coach he is. He's offensive-minded. He brought Dallas to the best offensive rating last year. Luka Doncic and a lot of other players had high praise for him, saying how great of a coach he is. And, I mean, it just shows Luka Doncic is one of the rising stars in the NBA, probably the face of the NBA in the next couple of years, what he did to make him such a great player. Luka contributed a lot of his great plays or like great playing towards Stephen Silas. He's coached great players in his past. Not only Luka, he's coached Kemba Walker, he's coached LeBron James. These are all superstar players, so he's able to handle superstar players like James Harden and Russell Westbrook and make them even better than what they already are.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Stephen Silas is definitely a good option. I think that by us hiring him, I think that we did the right thing. I mean, I feel like you're right. He's been there. He's coached for a long time, and that he's coached great players. I think we may have overlooked Ty Lue just a little bit. I mean, he was one of the first midseason coaches to reach the NBA Finals. I mean, within 2 years, he won an NBA championship. I mean, as a player, he was an NBA champion in 2000 and 2001. I mean, he won multiple ESPY awards for best coach and manager, which says a lot, which means, I mean, you're going to hire somebody. You want to hire someone that's a likable guy. You want to hire someone that the players can not only relate to and have a relationship to, but somebody that can get you to championship caliber level. And, you know, his second year coaching, he went 12-1 in the playoffs in 2017. And he did coach LeBron James. So, I mean, like you said about Stephen Silas, I mean, yeah, he's coached him too. But, I mean, Ty Lue still brought to the table that he can win a championship and that also he can coach great players like LeBron James.
All true points, guys, but what if we would have went on the route and we would have just promoted John Lucas? Apart from Anthony, the second person who knows this team in and out is John Lucas, as he has been his assistant for the past 4 years. I'd say that the project hasn't been going bad. You know, we've been knocking on the door of the finals multiple times. So it would have been a good opportunity for John Lucas to step up. But it's good. Now he's going to be helping out, hopefully, with Silas to provide some insight to what he's been working with for the past 4 years. And hopefully we can build a good team for the next year.
Yeah, and Stephen Silas did come out and say he is trying to make sure he keeps John Lucas on the team, on the coaching staff right now. So keep a good bond with the players and all that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like we should keep him around. I mean, if John Lucas was there and he had a good thing going with the Rockets, there's no reason to let him go at all. I mean, I feel like you should keep your assets close to you. So I feel like, I mean, that's a good point you brought up.
Yeah, so like Elmer, like everyone was saying, I'm glad to have Lucas around. He's obviously a great assistant. He does a lot for players outside of basketball. He really cares about the athletes. The team really loves him. The players love him. So it's great to have him around. Probably could have had more consistency. Having him be the head coach would be less of a risk in going with someone outside of the organization. but it's good to have him as an assistant as well. Keep him around, which apparently Silas wants to do, which is good. And on the note of Silas, I'm excited to do what he can do with our roster. I think that working with Luka Doncic and giving or bringing Mavericks to the greatest offensive performance in or offensive rating performance in NBA history, it's that's no small feat. So it's good to see that we brought in a coach who really could make a difference to this roster. I'm glad to see we kept Lucas around. And on Spencer's point of Ty Lue, I think Ty, like him, Jeff Van Gundy, these kind of coaches who have coached championship teams before, they're good candidates and they belong in the NBA. But I don't know if they belong on the Rockets because they kind of go to win now teams who have players like LeBron James and AD, or teams who have like Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. Teams that want to win the championship this year. And while that's definitely the case for the Rockets, we want to win this year. We kind of just want to build around James Harden and build a culture and build a team that can win during his time. And, we have a lot of young players on the roster, and we're going to need to bring those players up in order to succeed with Harden. And so while I do think Ty Lue is a good candidate, he's probably a better candidate for the Clippers than he is for us. So on that point, with the players that we have around, let's go into talking about trade talks, which is some players that we might think about trading this offseason in order to improve our program. We'll first start with Devin talking about trading Russell Westbrook.
Yeah, I feel like with trading Russell Westbrook, that's something we can get away with. I mean, although he was dominant in the month of February, he kind of fell off in the playoffs and in other parts of the year, which is something we can't really have from one of our star players on the team. I feel in trading Russ, we get a good pick a good player in Miles Turner and Malcolm Brogdon. With getting Malcolm Brogdon, you bring a player that can run pick and roll and pick and pops with James Harden, which was when he was at his best, when he was playing point guard for Houston. You got Miles Turner, he can shoot from the three. Not only that, he can also drive to the paint, get aggressive, plays good defense, something we need here in Houston. Our defensive end kind of lacks with P.J. Tucker at the center position. Don't get me wrong, he's a great player, but I think he's more of a power forward, small forward kind of player. And getting him out there with Miles Turner, he can coach up Miles Turner, play great center ball. I mean, I think it only helps us. And then also having Malcolm Brogdon there. Malcolm Brogdon's a really good player. He won Rookie of the Year in 2017. I mean, he's going to be able to produce off the bench, which is something we kind of need at times. Houston falls off bench. James Harden will be out there balling out of his mind, dropping 30 points a game. And then we end up seeing at the end of the game, we lose by 15, and the bench only had 15 points the whole game. So I feel like getting Malcolm Brogdon will really help that bench play. And yeah.
Yeah, I think that Malcolm Brogdon would be a good option. I mean, I feel like it's a good thing that he can shoot and that he can. I mean, it's always good to bring something else to the table other than just like a drive player, like a quick 2 points here and there, a couple rebounds a game. I feel like he would be a good option. But I'm gonna throw out maybe Harden for Embiid. And I know it's a big topic, and I know that would be getting rid of one of our best players, our best player. But I feel like the Rockets just need a big man to take control of the paint and average higher points per game throughout the season. I mean, I feel like we haven't had like a true center that did that in the past couple of years. And I feel like if we want to make big change, we have to make big decisions. Obviously, losing the star player of our team is not something that is like a good idea to most people. But you never know. Sometimes when you make risky decisions, there's a positive outcome. And I feel like, yes, we would lose the Russell Westbrook Harden combo, but what if Joel came in and, Russell's completely capable of driving ISO work just like Harden. But I mean, if we had that combo between Russell and Embiid, I feel like that could be a very positive thing for our team. And it might push us to be more elite if we got him. Yep.
I mean, although I feel like Embiid would be a great player for the team, I don't feel like we can trade Harden for Embiid. I mean, Embiid's been injured for a lot of his career. Harden hasn't missed a lot of his games. So I think trading him would be a risk, high risk, like you said. With high risk, there are high rewards, but I think this would be not necessarily a high reward in regards for Harden for Embiid. Definitely having Embiid would make them a better team,
Yeah.
but I think maybe we could trade something else. Maybe if we traded Russ for Embiid, that would be a better option in my eyes. But you think Russ can play great with him? Perfectly fine. It could happen. It could work, but we just never know on that one.
Yeah. I also don't think Westbrook would go for Embiid. I don't feel like that would be a trade that people would be interested in, but you never know.
Yeah.
Stuff happens.
If only we had some picks to throw in there. First round pick and a Russell Westbrook.
About the power forward and the center forward, and the center, and I agree with you guys. That should be one of the paths we should take. In terms of the star players, I think we should keep them. I think we should keep Harden and Westbrook. Just talking about their numbers on the offense, points per game in the regular season, Harden was first, and Westbrook came in at 7th. That's not too bad for an offense. In defense, though, we do lack a bit. PJ came in at 18th, and we had Westbrook at 22nd. So if we have to do something, I'd say that look into the free agency pool. Just do some small tweaks on it, specifically on the power forward or the center position.
Definitely agreed.
All right, so those are some interesting trade ideas. I think definitely trading Russ or Harden could take those $40 million salaries off of our salary cap, and we can allocate that money into cheaper players, or not cheaper players, but players who can give us good minutes. Like, I know Fred VanVleet is a free agent this year, and who's the small forward from the Thunder? Danilo Gallinari is also a free agent. So those guys could definitely give us good minutes. If we were to trade these $40 million players, bring in cheaper players, and then put free agents on top of it, that could make a great, well-rounded team. Something like the Thunder right now, they're a great, well-rounded team. The Nuggets are a well-rounded team. The Clippers are a well-rounded team. But, we like our star power, and we probably won't trade Harden or Westbrook, but those are good ideas. And on top of that, I would hate to see either one of them go. I think Russell Westbrook's my favorite player. Harden's my second favorite player. So, like Elmer said, we made a great run last year. We probably just need to tweak the roster slightly to improve and make a better run at the championship this year. My opinion is I think we should trade Eric Gordon. This last season, we gave him, I think, a 3-year extension worth $18 million a year, which I thought was bogus. I don't know where that came from because he's 31 years old. His injuries are building up. He was injured for most of the year this year. And that's money we could have spent somewhere else. This year we have Ben McLemore and Denwell. Both give great minutes at the wing position. Neither of them started very often. I think that they rotated in and out for most of the year, but both of them are good players. Denwell House specifically is coming up and is definitely one of the young players in the league. So we can definitely afford to get rid of Eric Gordon, and we can definitely afford better players with his money off the table. So I think a team like the Cavaliers, who really has not that much talent and the cap space to do it, could trade us. We'll probably have to get rid of a smaller player or some draft picks to get him off the team, but it won't be like a blockbuster trade. Basically, move on from Eric Gordon and try to get a center, like Elmer was saying, try to get a power forward, somebody who can, a big man who can give us good minutes. So on that subject, we're going to go into free agency now, talk about potential players that we could bring in to improve our roster, given the holes that we have now. So let's see what Devin has to say about possible free agents.
Yeah, of course. The big talk is the Rockets need a center / power forward, whatever we want it to be, right? We're lacking on the defensive end. I feel like something that could help us with that, if we don't get who we requested in trade, maybe we could go for a free agent like Marvin Bagley. He was a great player in college, produced really high record numbers. I mean, in the NBA, he hasn't really produced as much, but granted, he's on the Sacramento Kings, a team that's never in contentions for playoffs or even winning a game at that. I mean, they win 20 games a year. I mean, he's a great player. I feel like he has potential to be really good playing with a player like James Harden or Russell Westbrook, just being in a system like that where he can actually thrive and not be just the man on the team. He can actually thrive on the team. But not only that, if we stick to the three ball, live by the three and die by the three, I think Etuan Moore will be a good player. He's played for New Orleans for the past couple of years. I mean, he's been a really good three-point shooter for them. I think one year he shot at a higher percentage from the three-point line than Stephen Curry did, which, I mean, that's saying a lot considering what Stephen Curry has been able to do since being in the league. Although he doesn't play big minutes, Etuan Moore, he can put in a few minutes off the bench, help us shoot a couple threes, get the team going. And speaking of getting the team going, Gerald Green is just the guy for that. I mean, he's been a great Houston player when he played for us the past couple of years that he did. Although he got traded this year, he was a great player for us, putting in 10 minutes a game. But when he's out there, he's electric, and everybody loves him on the team. So, yeah, those are my 3 picks.
Yeah, I for sure agree with the opinion of Gerald Green. I feel like he wins in Houston. Everybody likes him. I mean, he's an athlete. In 2007, he won the freaking slam dunk competition. I mean, how many athletes do you know in the NBA nowadays that even get a chance to be in that? I mean, he's been around. I feel like that his experience is a value to us, and I feel like that if we were able to get him back, I feel like that he could really add off the bench, like you said, like 10 minutes a game, even if he even gets that or maybe a little more. I feel like he could be someone that could step up and get us more points than just like 15 off the bench. But another 2 guys that I want to talk about, I mean, from the center position, because obviously that's the thing in the room that we need, obviously. But Serge Ibaka, I mean, he's old, yes, but I feel like he's an experienced player. He's a wise playmaker. I feel like he can make plays, and also he's not the biggest, but he's an aggressive player, and he can get you points in the paint. And he was a 3-time All-Defensive first-team selection, which, I mean, we need defense. We need someone that can step up and lock down electric players. And he led the league twice in blocks also, which would be a good asset. So he could also play either the power forward or the center position. So if we wanted to rotate some more guys in, it would give us a better opportunity to expand that as well. And then for the last guy, Andre Drummond, he was a 2-time All-Star, and he was a rebound leader in 2016, 17, and 18. So, I mean, another good option.
Yeah, I honestly do
as well. And that I feel like he could be a good option for us. So, I mean, if we decide to go down that road with the center, I mean, Serge Ibaka or Andre Drummond, I feel like those would be 2 good options.
Yeah, I honestly believe those 2 picks would actually be pretty good for the team. I mean, if you think about the players that we have, we could really become a defensive-minded team. You have playing P.J. Tucker, Robert Covington. If we elected to keep James Harden, I mean, he got drafted as a good defensive player. Out of college, they drafted him thinking he would be a really good defensive player. He had a really good base that he could play off of. And we all know Russell Westbrook. He's an athlete out there on defense. He's just running around. And adding someone like Serge Ibaka or Andre Drummond to clog up the paint, we could actually become like a really good defensive team to add to our offense, which would really help out a lot.
For sure.
Going off of you, certainly the power forward and the center position is something we should work on. The 2 guys that I have in mind are Montrezl Harrell, who you guys probably remember from a couple years back. He was with us. He might not have left the footprint in the Houston Rockets fan base, but I think that if we give him a second chance, he might be able to give us some good rebounds throughout the season. Another guy that I got on here is Tristan Thompson. He's about 29 years old now. Experienced player. Last season, he ranked 9th in terms of rebounds. That'd be something good for us. But yeah, overall, I think the power forward or in the center position is what we should be looking at.
For sure. Agreed.
All right. So everyone said it. We definitely need a center. That's definitely probably what we're going to go after this offseason. Depends on whether we are looking for a big man to get the rebounds, or if we're looking for, like a guy like Andre Drummond or Tristan Thompson, or if we're looking for a more athletic guy who can put up some shots, and really make some offensive plays like Serge Ibaka. I think that Serge Ibaka, or like Marvin Bagley, who has a lot of potential, like Devin was saying, he was drafted high. He was supposed to be one of the best players out of his draft class, and he hasn't amounted to that yet, but he still has the potential to do that. And as everyone said, Gerald Green, I love him. Everyone in Houston does. He's electric. Definitely, if we were to get rid of Eric Gordon, bring Gerald Green back, we have more good minutes at the wing position from Gerald Green. But my opinion is that Serge Ibaka would be a great player to add to the team because he wouldn't cost too much. He's played with Russ and Harden before in OKC when that was the thing. Obviously, that didn't last very long, but he has experience playing with them, and he's a great offensive center. So he shoots from three very well, and as everyone was saying, he's also a great defender. So I think that he'd be a great cheap addition to the team. Definitely, if we were to get rid of Gordon or somehow free up some money, replacing him with Ibaka would be, in my opinion, a great move for the team. The only thing is that he's not the biggest. He probably wouldn't be able to give that many minutes as he's getting older. And he's not like he's not the piece that's going to turn it all around. But if we get some development from our younger players, if our stars keep performing like stars, then I think Ibaka could bring us to possible championship contention. So overall, it's a off season to look forward to. There's a lot of excitement going on, especially with the new coaching, so with the new GM, and there's going to be some Harden and Russell Westbrook trade talks, especially with Daryl Morey gone and Mike D'Antoni in Philadelphia now. As Spencer was saying with the Embiid trade, Mike D'Antoni is going to try and get him. He's going to try and get Harden. So, we'll just have to see. But it should be an exciting year. It should be an exciting offseason. And this has been the first episode of the Red Rowdy Podcast. Hopefully, we'll be able to record a second one for you, and it should be as fun as this one. So thank you guys for listening, and we're going to play the outro for you. Go Rockets.